to organize the online events, there's always something that can go not the way you're planning, but we try to keep everything under control. So now we hope that we will be able to let more people in. And of course, as we've been doing so far, we are going to record this meeting. So you will be able to find it on our social medias, on our YouTube. So this is still going to be here. It's not going to get lost in the moment in a way. Before we start, I would like to remind you if you want to write your name and to actually have your video on, because in this way it can be more personal and it can feel more like a conversation. And remember to mute yourself when you're not speaking, and because in this way we will maintain the quality of the call higher. And if we are going to have trouble hearing you, we're going to let you know. If there's going to be any technical issue, we're going to let you know, so don't worry about that. And to be able to share this webinar in the future, we will start recording it. And now we will start the recording. And so welcome to the Creative Business Investors second webinar. We actually wanted to go for a second round because we received emails, we received messages from people saying that they weren't able to attend the first one. So they wanted to get more information. They wanted to know more about the issue. This is why we decided to go for a second round. And I'm actually really happy to present you the speakers that we have today. Today, we have here with us Vanessa Voelkel and Hendrik Tezel from UNIDO ITPO Germany. And they are going to guide us through their projects in the African region. And actually, they also sent us an additional document. So if you want to have more information, you can download the additional document in the This is CBN sign up page. So you can have more information on the issue. Then we have Javier from Peru, Javier Benavides. He is the co-founder and is an expert on angel investors at INVESTA VB. And we have Pedro da Fonseca. He comes from Namibia. He is the CEO and founder of Black Gold Engineering Namibia, and he's going to present us his work with LED streetlights, environmental friendly, and more light and bright than ever. And finally, we have Camila Orantes. She is the founder of Spot from El Salvador, and she's also going to guide us through her investment process as a startup. So I think that now I can give the floor to Rasmus, our CEO.
Don't you need to introduce Mentimeter?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. I'm going to introduce Mentimeter. So Ricardo is going to help me here.
So Mentimeter is the way that we engage with you guys that have joined us. And you should explain it to us, Antonio.
Yes, absolutely. So we try to use this application that is called Mentimeter. So it's actually pretty easy to use. You can just go to menti.com on your smartphone. It's a pretty fast forward app. So when you write menti.com, you're going to redirect it here. You're going to insert a code, and this is the code that is shown, 745397. Don't worry about the code, because if you forget it now, you're always going to be able to see it on the top of the screen. So 755397.
So Antonio used a hypothetical tense, but so go to menti.com right now and type in the code 745397, and then type the heart.
Yes. If you click on the art, we're gonna know that you are here.
So you can grab your smartphone and do it on that one. It will be useful not just now, but for the rest of the webinar.
Okay, so now I think that we're actually waiting for some more people to get on the Menti, and we can go on the first question. So we just to set the way it works, you can just write, where do you come from? Okay. Okay, that's cool. Perfect. So in this way we can see, and we're gonna use this system for also the next questions. Yeah.
So keep your smartphone nearby.
Exactly.
That was it, Antonio?
Yes, actually now I can give the floor to you, but we have the we could have the I give the floor to you. Sorry.
No, sorry,
sorry.
We're a bit. It's a bit since we lost some time and we're trying to catch up.
And we're trying to.
So I'm not going to say much more than my name is Rasmus, and I'm lucky to have Antonio and Ricardo with me here today to run this webinar on creative business investors. But I'm also very lucky to have the great speakers that we have invited to speak to you about investing in the cultural and creative industries. And I think that's all I should say. And then ask for the second questions, right, in the Mentimeter. Isn't that what you wanted to go to, Antonio?
Exactly. We have some questions that actually come from our speakers from ITPO Germany. So they would like to know some things. Do you consider African countries as target markets for your company? If so, which ones? If you want to answer this question, you have to go to menti.com, as it's written on the top of the screen, and type the code 745397. Okay. Okay. I think that now we can go to the second question in this case. Okay. So we have this. Okay, I think that actually if Vanessa and Enric want to comment on the results that they're seeing here, they're absolutely free to do that before start their presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's interesting to see, especially like the networking and integration, because that's something what certainly the UNIDO investment and technology promotion offices can support. And I already saw there are also a colleague from our ITPO in Italy, in Rome. And yeah, financing, I mean, the ITPOs do not themselves finance, but there are a lot of international organizations like the development banks and international financing institutions, which might be helpful, especially in the times of COVID-19 pandemic, like with new supportive programs. So I will have a look on this also after the webinar. Thank you. Shall we start with the presentation, Antonio?
Absolutely. You have the floor now, Vanessa.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Antonio, and thank you, Rasmus, for giving us the opportunity to present the UNIDO Investment and Technology Promotion Office Germany here in today's webinar. My name is Vanessa. I work as an expert here at the ITPO, and together with my colleague Hendrik, we will give you a small insight into the work of our office, which you actually can see on the picture on the slide. The high building, the left one, in the back is the ITPO, where we are located in the beautiful city Bonn, the former capital of Germany. And the office has been established in 2017 as the youngest ITPO of the ITPO network. And in the next slide, Antonio, you can see that we belong to UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, which was established in 1966 and became a specialized agency of the United Nations in 1985. And the main aim of UNIDO is to promote inclusive and sustainable industrial development in developing countries and in economies in transition. This is being promoted with 170 member states. Headquarters of the organization is Vienna. And UNIDO uses a big field network, which consists of 47 regional hubs, regional and country offices, and in total it covers 156 countries. If you go on the website open.unido.org, You can check out whether there is a UNIDO office in your region. And for example, for our participants from Latin America, there are offices in Bolivia, in Ecuador, and Colombia. And you can also check out the projects, what UNIDO implements, to see whether there are any linkages to your company. So next slide.
Yeah, you might have heard of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, the so-called SDGs. There are existing 17 of those goals. Here you have the overview of all of them. We can maybe already go to the next slide. Because UNIDO mainly focuses on following three. This is goal number 5 for gender equality, goal number 17, partnership for South and South cooperation, and of course goal number 9, all about industrial development. So yeah, we publish statistics, we do policy advice. Our main publication might be the Industrial Development Report. And yeah, all these SDGs are intended by all UN member states to be reached by 2030. And this is what we work towards, so that you have an overview. Next slide, please.
So on the next slide, you see the mandate of the UNIDO ITPO Germany. So we support investors and companies in promoting the technology transfer from Germany and also from Europe and all industrialized countries to developing countries and economies in transition. So it's always the aim to support industrial development in these countries. Let's say the companies which are being supported are just kind of an instrument, they benefit from it, but the main aim is to support the development in these countries. So it could be even a local technology, which would be better, but if it is not existent, there are lots of European technologies, especially in the environmental sector and so on. So what does support mean? We don't finance by ourselves. We mainly use our networks. We connect European companies with business partners, with business development organizations and local industry specialists. We go to trade shows and give businesses the opportunity to co-participate, and we advise. Let's say if a company wants to enter the Ethiopian market or the market in Kenya, we support with market advice. On the other hand, we also support companies coming from developing countries and transition through connecting them with European investors, with technology providers, allowing them B2B meetings. Henrik will give some 3 examples to make it a bit more visible, these a bit theoretical things. And third pillar of our work is like capacity building, where we work directly with investment promotion agencies and other business development organizations with trainings and investment promotion via the so-called Delegate program. What might be relevant, especially for startups from the Creative Business Network, is your business model should be already proven and should work. So for example, if there is a startup which already has a business in Namibia and wants to expand to new markets, we would help you to bring this, to replicate this model. If you are with a startup on a very early stage and you don't have a financing or whatever, we would not be the suitable partner, but still we maybe can help you to connect you to investors. Next slide, please. Antonio? Yeah, okay. So this is just to make clear the sectoral focus of our work, mainly focusing on these 6 sectors like renewable energy, energy efficiency, environmental technologies, which encompasses like wastewater, solid waste, and so on, sustainable agribusiness, like technologies which help to make agribusiness more environmentally friendly or more efficient, resource efficient manufacturing, and in the health and sanitation sector, we are expanding a bit, especially because of the pandemic, the current situation. Okay, next slide. Yeah, as I already said, there is a network of ITPOs. You can see it also here on the banner and on the map. So in total, there are 9 offices of the ITPO network in 8 countries. Other offices in China, South Korea, and Italy, In Russia, we have an office I've seen there. There might be a participant from Russia as well, maybe now joining the webinar, and in Bahrain. So as you can see, these offices are always located in countries which are industrialized and where you have technologies, what you can bring to developing countries. You don't see any office currently in Latin America, but there are UNIDO offices, as I previously said, and this, due to the fact that these offices are financed by the host government. There has been an office in Mexico, but still this doesn't mean that we can't be active in Latin America. With UNIDO project, with the UNIDO network, we also can work over there. Next slide. Yeah, this is our colleague Michael in Burani village in Kenya. At the opening speech of a water treatment plant of a Berlin-based startup called Boreal Light. Actually, we connected this company on site also with a Danish company with Clean Shield. Maybe you know them, producing organic fertilizers. And this water treatment plant, it delivers up to 20,000 liters water, especially important in times of the pandemic, to have clean hygiene water. And it created some jobs on site because there are different water qualities. Like there's a fish farm, it created 15 workplaces so far. But yeah, since we're running out of time, I would say on the next photo, just one quick glimpse on the vertical farm, which created 15 workplaces, 13 only for women. And I want to give Henrik the time to present the two more examples quickly.
So very quickly on the next slide, we have the ITPO Germany Delegate program we host usually once a year. In 2019, we brought 3 Nigerian startup founders to Germany and took them with us to the technical fair.
Yeah.
The host of this program, he wants to take my shift, so it's nice. So Thursday.
If any of you have questions, I suggest that you first do like Joanna from Namibia and write them in the chat, and then we'll call you up when the presentation is done.
Yeah, we just have this slide and one more. So
yeah, this is an example of how we bring African startups to Germany and connect them also to investors and companies of their sector with the German counterparts, and it was very helpful to them. And yeah, it's just an example of
maybe you want to say what Michael Ogundara from Crash to Cop Cash said about his participation at the Agritechnica trade show.
Yeah, so after the trade show, he was basically able to raise his business, his investments by almost $300,000 US. So it had a huge impact on his business. Crop to Cash, it's basically a financial technology platform for small farmers in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the last example, maybe.
So
next slide.
Another project example would be a company called Voelkel we work together with. So they produce bricks for housing construction, where you can basically build houses with local materials. In this case, you have 87% desert sand and 13% polymer resin. It's very simple. It dries in 20 minutes, and basically everyone can build its own house with the kind of Lego construction way, brick by brick by brick. So it reduces costs and it's quite environmentally friendly.
Yeah, this factory is actually in Namibia, and we're running out of time, but check out our website, itpo-germany.org for more information. You find also on the website of the webinar our annual report for download, where you get a better understanding maybe of our activities and whether there are any synergies to your business or your activities of your organization. Thank you.
Thank you to Vanessa and to Henrik from UNIDO IPTO. Do like Joanna from Namibia, who is Creative Business Cup Namibia contact, and she's the one that found one of our speakers today a couple of years ago. But so write your questions in the chat, and then we'll call you out. I would just like to have one question to you guys. You said transfer of technological knowledge from Germany to countries in Africa. What about the other way around? What if we have an inventor in Namibia that has invented a superior way of streetlights, actually a technology that hasn't been invented in Germany? Could it also go the other way around? Could you help a startup in Africa with technology transfer to Germany?
Not to Germany, because this office has been established with funds of German Development Corporation, and the aim is to support developing countries. But for example, if this business should be expanded to another African country,
okay.
Which belongs to the, let's say, developing countries in terms of that definition, yes, we certainly could do that. There might be institutions who have better networks because they are based there. I mean, we're based in Germany, and
I just know that I've driven through Germany a couple of times, and you have a few highways with some streetlights, and even in Belgium, all the motorways have streetlights. But anyway, let's thank you, Vanessa and Hendrik, and let's move on to Javier Benavides, co-founder and angel investor expert from INVESTA in Peru, and this is our Creative Business Cup partner in Peru. Here is a presentation, and Javier, the floor is yours. The webinar is yours.
Hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Actually, my concern as an investor is the quality of the deal flow, and we investors usually make a terrible mistake. We do not ask what we want. Pitches just arrive, and we're supposed to be kind of a judge on whether someone does or not deserve to be financed. That's the way many people look at us, and also perhaps we get a little bit picky as we have become too comfortable. But this is all about you, entrepreneurs. So this time I will try to communicate a little bit more so you are better prepared. Our company, INVESTA VB, aims to be a bridge between startups and corporations as a ways of getting business done and investment that may come or actually comes as a collateral. It is all about getting our hands on and fast. If you go to the next slide. And this is kind of two words. Many people want to live the dreams of creating a startup, to deliver a great proposal, to solve a problema or an ambition. And it serves as well as a vehicle of self-affirmation. And that's amazing. But however, most of the time is spent in the operational work, that is setting up your startup operations or running your operations in a company. That's great, because entrepreneurs are so willing to give many times they forget to receive. And if we have a transactional view, a business view, and every startup founder always will struggle a bit in this part of the endeavor, because finance is not on the interest, and when the time to execute arrives, this underworld of finance storms into a room, makes everything more difficult, sometimes to ruin it all. And stories like this, like this one, cover the world on how money and financing become a nightmare, on how it becomes an unbearable task to accomplish the financing of this company setup. So this task, the task of generating money to start a vehicle, this vehicle that will lead you to success, just becomes too high a mountain to ascend. Actually, my apologies. If you're thinking in operations first, you're getting it all wrong. Financing is a resource, just like your abilities, your customer knowledge, your team, your suppliers, and your business model. Again, the size of your operational setup, that is, again, your setup on how you are going to bring your value proposition to your customers, your ability to grow, your team capabilities. That's all your setup. So, and that will determine your finance outreach. The bridge between the two, that should be where there should be only one, is through communications with all your stakeholders, including your finance, the people in the finance side. If you go to the next one, just to go. So many times investors have been there, most probably before the creation. Well, I mean the creation of your startup. and investors are not gods. As proof of that, their chance in failing in their startup investments can raise up to 85%. That's a quite a huge chance of getting things going all wrong. Thus, they appear to have more experience in evaluating startups than many entrepreneurs because they fail faster. Hence, that acronymous fail rate, they will still give you smile and support. So when evaluating their intromission in their business, expect them to be worried about not failing when choosing your company. So my first tip is if they usually have a lot of experience in money matters. So if you want to be a wise entrepreneur, perhaps you might want to approach them early. Even when they tell you your company is still too young to be reviewed, you can expect them to give you some interesting advice on your startup. So keep them near, keep them informed. Don't stop even when some of them will transfer your email to spam. Some won't. So, and those who won't, they are pretty much gold. My second tip is to find imaginative ways to attract them and get them permanently involved, even silently, in your endeavors. May you fail or thrive, it's the people who communicate. And be sure that 100% of the times, reasons beyond money will arise in the final yes. Because since the very beginning, it is people meeting people. So just be gentle, be kind, be human, be humble, be ready to serve your cause and be smart in business. And that's attractiveness everywhere. So take advantage of it. We go to the next slides, please. If we go to the next slide. So my final advice, life is sharing. So I think investing is not part of life, of your business. We all invest, not only money, but mostly into our own reputation. So just start by sharing, and that's my message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Javier. And so we had, for the previous Creative Business Investor webinar, a guy from Japan, one of our Creative Business Cup startups, that had 20 investors. All that he had, some of them wanted a return on investment, some were doing it for the love of the business. It's an art hotel that invite artists to actually the rooms. And so I'm just wondering, you said, Javier, that it's really important to be yourself. Isn't that sometimes detrimental to getting investments for some people?
Actually not. Actually not. If you are not yourself, you won't have the strength to go through all through everything. Actually, you have to know your customers. You have to know your suppliers. You have to know your financiers. You have to know everyone involved in your business.
You have to show your investors your weaknesses also.
Sorry?
By being yourself, you have to show your weaknesses as well.
Yeah, and your fails as well. Because many times people think that we only have to show the nice part of it. And as I told you, investors fail a lot. They're used to fail. So if I only see you by your wins, I will sense something there that's not right. Mm-hmm. So let's be human.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, Pedro da Fonseca, NAMLUX Namibia, or Black Gold Engineering. I met you in Kenya, in Nairobi, for the Creative Business Summit Africa. Was it 2017 or 18? I can't remember. But anyway, you made a very great impression on us by coming on the line, and we were blown away right away. It was being at the dentist suddenly. And I can tell you the sun is bright in Kenya, but you were brighter than the sun there.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Yes, we met Creative Business Cup Kenya in 2018. Just to give you a small background on myself, I will be talking today with regards to my startup and the journey that I took to where we are today. My dream started in 2014. This is when I founded Black Gold Engineering. But my startup struggles only started in 2016. So I've got a background in electrical engineering. I've got a master's in electrical engineering and about 6 years experience. What I did is I went and I invented an LED street light. The idea was to create energy efficient light bulbs, reducing the amount of power that lights use by putting out better light, longer lasting lights that are good for the people in, well, firstly in my community, in my surroundings. And then obviously we noticed that it was good enough to also express this worldwide. So I first started my operations in the back of my garage, did some tests and everything. And I went by switching out the technical parts that we have in current lights to reducing them to integrated circuits so that we can get the better light. That's the technical part of it. We were then able to register as an invention, and we were able to patent it in Africa, in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, and in the Oceanias. So we have
someone else must have thought of LEDs as for streetlights than you. So there must be something really unique also now that you've been able to patent it.
Yes. So the unique part of it is that my LEDs don't use drivers or inverters like your conventional LEDs. My LEDs are all one single LEDs on a PC board that constitute it being the only type of light that has its power circuit and its light all on one PC board, and that is as strong as it is to give off as much light as it does. So if I do a comparison, a very light comparison, sorry there, Antonio, if you don't mind putting on my flyer now. If I do a very light comparison, the type of light, my street light versus current street lights, my street light uses 10 times less electricity than one of the current street lights. So in other words, where you have a current conventional street light, you can actually put 10 of mine working in that same area, but it's giving brighter light, and I can guarantee that it will last you 60 months, meaning 5 years of operation without any maintenance, whereas our current street lights need to be continuously maintained every 8 months plus. So my street light, ever since we started, I started off with a street light, but we have now grown. We have now got 3 different products. We've got a street light, we've got high bay lights, which are used for industrial buildings and warehouses and so forth, which also adapt our technology where we're giving out brighter, stronger light at very little consumption of electricity, proving that they are more efficient currently in the market. And we've got domestic lighting for interior use and so forth. This flyer that I put up just shows the 3 different products that we do have. So the street light is only one product. The high bay has got 2 variations of the product. And then I've got downlights that you can use in your personal homes and in buildings that come in 5 different variations. So,
but with the savings for people who have the need for streetlights, okay, do you really need investors? Because people must be ordering like crazy from you.
No, not yet. The problem is that, so we did have a chance to be on the international stage for this. I actually did say no to quite a few investors because the idea was that they wanted me to relocate to Europe to be able to take it off from that side. But doing that, I felt I would have missed the goal of why I introduced this. So I said no because I wanted to start it from Africa. So I started this in 2016 and I only got funding last year in 2019. I got funding of the equivalent of about $200,000 US, which I have used since to convert into my assembly line that's taking place right here in Namibia. I have got NDAs in place and agreements in place with manufacturers in South Korea and in China, which are helping me produce my products. And then we have it shipped to Namibia where we assemble, do the tests, and then we start distribution from here as well. So
how much ownership did you have to give up for the $200,000 US?
I had to give up 45% of my business. 45% of my business. So I am left with majority just because, for that amount, they took quite a lot. But it also helped me jumpstart after waiting 3.5 years to finally get investors to fall in. But we were finally able to get our products finished. I mean, Rasmus, if I was to ask you what you saw in Kenya versus what you see here today is two complete different products. So,
but still, the light in Kenya was bright. It was like suddenly being right in front of the sun or a dentist when you saw it.
I can actually show you. I still have the old fitting, the old light here. So just to give people an idea of where I'm coming from, this was my prototype. This is where I started. This very big piece of light to the aluminum fitting that I now have designed and patented as well, which has ushered us to where we are. So we still do have ambitions. I would still love to own 100% of the manufacturing of my own product here. I am not scared of giving up ownership in terms of getting more investment. I just want to keep true to the goal, which is making an African product good enough for European and first world countries. You know, it's not just about farming and mining here, but we've also got technology. So that is more or less what we're trying to do and trying to show. And yeah, so that is what we're doing here at Black Gold Engineering.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pedro. Really fascinating. And
thank you very much for this platform as well. Thank you.
I will get back to you for the Q&A time, but I want to make sure that Camila Orantes also have time to present Spot. I met Camila in Santiago de Chile, if I remember correctly, sometime in the fall of in December 19 or something like that. Yeah. And I was fascinated how you used artificial intelligence and video to help with a lot of stuff. And you came to Copenhagen in, that must have been December 18, yeah. And you came to Copenhagen in the summer of 19, which must have been like a winter's day in back in Latin America, where you're from. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit about Spot and the different products?
Sure. First, first, I don't know if we're gonna ask the questions.
Oh yeah, we have. Sorry, yeah, we have a Mentimeter. Sorry.
Yeah. So I send a question for you to answer. So if you go to the app that is Mentimeter, you can answer. This is if once you have an idea, what did you do or would you do next? You as an entrepreneur, would you first go and find an investment, or would you start working on an MVP, or you don't know? This is because I want to know where you...
So for all of you that have just joined or joined a bit later, grab your smartphone, go to menti.com, menti.com, enter the code 745397, 745397, and then answer the question that Camila Orantes has put forward here.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah. Go there and vote. If you have already have a startup, go back to when you were starting and think, what did you do first? Did you work on an MVP or did you search investment? Or if you're about to start a company, then
maybe you want to explain to us what is an MVP?
Minimal viable product. That means something that is kind of what your idea is, but it's in a minimum function.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it can work. Minimal working product. Yeah. Good.
So everyone is almost focusing on working on the MVP. If you want to go to the next question. And do you have knowledge in finance or economy? Or if you there's 3 options. Yes, but just the basic. Yes, I'm very experienced, or not at all. So this is important because I want to know where you're at, whether you are an entrepreneur, because it's important to, finance is important when you're looking for investment, of course, but usually as entrepreneurs, as I can see here, people are between not having knowledge of finance or just the very basic. So yeah, it has the pattern. Okay.
What was your case?
Just the basic that I saw in university. So perfect. Thank you for your answers. So I have a presentation prepared to tell you about our journey. We are a Spot. We are, as Rasmus said, we are a hard tech company that develops artificial intelligence focused on computer vision algorithms. But I don't want to talk about the technical stuff. Today I want to talk about our journey to getting investment. If you want to go to the next slide. As you probably know, investment is an iceberg situation. Everyone sees the moment when you get investment, but no one sees what happened before. So that's why I first want to tell you where we are today. If you can go to the next slide. Right now, we have received $260,000 in seed investment. We are in an accelerator in Latin America, that is in Chile, Startup Chile. And we have 2 headquarters, one in Chile and one in El Salvador. We were born in El Salvador, actually. This is where I am today. And we were able to expand to Chile. And we are a team of 10 people. And also, something that I didn't want to write here because it's not official yet, but I wanted to share it, is that we're about to close a contract to scale with Walmart in Chile. So this is one of the great things that are happening today. And if you tell me this sounds like a regular average startup that is doing good, but if you go to the next one, please, next. This is how we started. We started as 4 engineer students. We just liked to develop. And we started in 2017. Spot is our first startup. And I say this because I know it's a different story when you have already made a startup before. So it's kind of easier to get funding because you have already had success, but this was our first startup. Also, we had 0 experience in a working environment, but what we were is that we were 100% developers and coders. And also another thing that how we started is that we were founded in a developing country. And even though this is not bad, but it is a part of our reality and it was another barrier that we had to go through. So how did we get here? How did we get to the point where we are now? You can go to the next slide first. I came up with an idea to explain our journey in these stages. In a little geeky way to explain. First, the Big Bang, then the uninhabitable Earth, and then creating life. So if you go next, please. The Big Bang. This was in 2017, in the middle of 2018. This is when we had our first explosion that get us moving. It happened to us because we won a lot of contests and a lot of entrepreneur contests. And one of the main things that helped us was that we won funding of through a contest of $50,000 equity free that gave us a free space to work for 1 year. And we actually took this opportunity really, really serious. We were working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. from Monday to Saturday, even though that just a couple of months before, we were just a couple of friends that used to meet in a library every week. We took this opportunity and we started to move. And I think that this is important that we were moving, because whether you won $1,000 or a $50,000 prize, this is the first moment where we realized that we wanted to make something out of our idea. So we focus a lot on the product development, our MVP, as I was saying before, our MVP. So then the uninhabitable Earth is when we actually had a good MVP. We had potential, but just as the Earth, we needed a little less poison and a little more oxygen to create life. So we had potential, but we needed resources. And this is when we, because we attended a lot of contests and a lot of networking events, we got able to get contacted and get the attention from investors and had a lot of meetings with them. But one thing that we struggled a lot was the amount of money that we were asking for and the percentage. So this is why I asked you if you had experience in finance, because we didn't. So at one point we were asking for $900,000, and at the end of the day, probably this was not a good approach, and I'm going to tell you why later. But finally, in March 2019, we received an investment from an angel investor. And let me, if you want to see, if you want to go the next. So how did we get this investment in 2019? Well, we went with this specific investor because we had an advisor relationship with this angel investor. And we used to meet every month. Before even getting an investment, we used to meet every month, and he gave us advice, and he was trying, we were kind of having this advisory relationship. And also the main factor is that he was willing to try to understand and invest time. Not everything is about money. He was willing to invest his time, and all his wisdom and experience helped us in a lot. Also because we had a similar approach in our business philosophy. I think this is important in creative businesses, because when you partner with someone who doesn't share your philosophy, you can get frustrated very fast and it can shut down your creativity. So we had this match in the business philosophy. And something important is that he actually gave us, when we were looking for money, he was very upfront and told us that we were asking for too much money. $900,000 maybe was not the money that we needed. And we had a meeting with his CFO, and he explained us how would it work. So if you want to go to the next slide.
Speed up a little bit, or you have to speed up because.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's 54 right now.
Okay, yeah? I'm just gonna explain this one if you want. So he explained us this chart that once what you do is that you are, for example, in the low circle, and you want to get to another circle, and you want to get to a circle that gives you value to your company. So maybe asking for $900,000 was too much, because we would get there at some point. But if you ask for $900,000 right now, you would probably, at least in our country, you would have to give more than 50% of your company, just like happened to in Namibia. So
it was close to 50, but not.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was not a good thing for us at that point. So finally, we agreed that we needed $150,000 in investment, and he gave us a lot of advice, and he kind of narrowed us down to what we needed. So that was really, really good. And if you go to the next one, please. So that's what happened. And then the last part is when you are creating life. Now that the uninhabitable earth, you create life. We got results. We moved to Chile. As I told you, we were in a startup accelerator, and we had our first customers, and we also received $80,000 in free equity free in Chile. So, and if you go to the next one, please. And what goes next after creating life? It's evolution, perfectioning. This is where we are right now, I think. We are perfectioning our product and investing in R&D. So this is basically our
maybe very here last a question. You said that you had won. Thank you very much, Camila. You said that you had got Walmart in El Salvador as a client, right?
In Chile.
In Chile. Okay. So explain, what is the service that you will provide concretely for Walmart in Chile?
Okay. So we, as I was saying, we use computer vision. So we install cameras, and actually thanks to the coronavirus, it's that everything has speed up. because we analyze how many people are inside the building of Walmart. We can know if there's also, we can know if there's agglomeration of people. So if people are too much together, we send an alert and we send it to WhatsApp to the people who are there, so they can go spread the people, or they can actually know if, and we also measure the temperature of the people. So all that is the solution that we are giving.
Okay, so but that could be any, that was specifically for Walmart. So, but it could be any kind of link between AI and video, right?
Yeah, everything, we can analyze everything of the real world.
Excellent. So now we're running out of time because we started late. I'm sorry about that, but we really had some fantastic examples of startups, how they have moved forward, and despite everything, all the resistance. And also we had 2 excellent presentations of some of those that try to help. So now we also have, just if you look in the chat, I can encourage both Pedro and Camila to look in the chat, because we have some really good comments there from elsewhere. I would just like to hear if there's anyone that would like to ask a question. We only have a few. We have like 1 minute left, so it has to be a quick question. Otherwise, maybe I should just ask if any of the speakers besides Camila, maybe Pedro or Vanessa or Javier, would like to have just 15 seconds of a statement here at the end. Pedro? You need to unmute yourself first if you want to say something. Yeah, there we go.
Well, I would actually want to say thank you very, very much, everyone, for your time. It wasn't easy to reach here. We did have a lot of participation by Gen Namibia and the CBN, and as well as seed investors that did advise, did give us their knowledge. You know, so it wasn't easy, and I do appreciate Camila's walk through this because it's similar to mine. But in the end, you know, it's how you take your walk and prevail and go through the hardships that you can actually make something credible and work on. So that's what I've got to give to our webinars today. Camila?
Thank you, Pedro. I wonder, Vanessa, would you like to have the second last word?
Yes, absolutely. So no, it really makes us happy to see these excellent ideas from Latin America and from Namibia, because actually this is what we would like to see more, and it's inspiring, hopefully, for others entrepreneurs. I think the preconditions are much more difficult than if you're in an industrialized country, but that's what needed to promote, to create jobs, to bring forth, and you know much better, like the local solutions, what are needed. So happy if we can add our value and can support you, and happy to stay connected with you, with your companies, and with all attendees.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa. Maybe Javier, you have one last comment, or we're close to 5 o'clock now, or you're fine?
Well, thank you all for gathering us here. It was amazing to hear of Camila and on Pedro. They are amazing. So let's keep in touch.
Excellent. And there will be good reasons to staying in touch, because also I have a question here from Bogdan Ianatsev about what is CBN role of this? What is Creative Business Network? So we have since 2012 held startup competitions for startups from the cultural and creative industries. And this is CBN, means that this is the Creative Business Network. These are startups and people that we have met over the years that are helping us to support creative startups. But you can read more on CBNet, so cbnet.com. And I suggest that you join us for the Bright online conference that takes place from the 29th of June to the 3rd of July. Write down some of the links or keep the links here in the chat. Otherwise, we will also send it to all of you that participated and registered, the links that are here in the chat. And we will also soon on our YouTube channel have a recorded version of this webinar, so that you can go back and listen to the great advice from our 5 speakers. So thank you all speakers, thank you to all the participants, thank you to Antonio and Ricardo for producing it, and Hope you have a great day. In half an hour, we'll be talking about women's entrepreneurship. So come back for that if you're interested. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye.